Matt. Keep your hands at your sides.
Hello. What's up, Gideon?
Hello. Don't swing your hands.
Last time we recorded this podcast, I knocked over my, the microphone. I hit the cords, and then it even though I plugged it back in, it stopped recording. So here we are. Wow. We're doing it again. We're going to just go off a transcript and say everything we had said before.
Exactly. It makes it easy, actually.
Yeah, it actually does. Okay.
But
hello,
this time,
Gideon.
watch those meat hook hands of yours.
I know. Well, I did used to work at the meat docks.
And you're also a fan of, I hear you're a big fan of the Crusades.
I am.
How's that for a transition?
Yeah, that was good transition. I am. I have lots of Crusader tattoos, just like the...
all over your pecs.
I do, yeah. Just like...
How many Americans do you think are like, in their interests on their resume, put like the Crusades?
Maybe number 3 of, after
3 people.
Yeah. No, I meant like, what is it? Like World War II, Rome,
oh, I see.
And then the Crusades, right?
Yeah. Special interests.
I feel like people just put like, oh, I like watching television and then I enjoy music.
Walks on the park.
Yeah. I don't know.
But the Crusades, man, that's specific.
It is specific. So
who was killed during the Crusades? So it's a bunch of zealot, Christian soldiers, right? From the Roman, is it the Roman Empire? No, I'm showing my pure ignorance.
No, because it was the Christians wanting to reclaim the Holy Land.
I see.
Yeah. So definitely a lot of Christians died. But
they killed people everywhere, right? Or was it just...
I mean, it was mainly there, but I think, as they were traveling from Europe down there, I think, it was an army, so they just started
what's the Fertile people. Crescent? You hear that?
The Fertile Crescent, that's
Is that where they were marching? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So these people, and anyone who was non-Christian... like Muslims or
yes.
Did Jews get killed during it? Yeah, probably. Yeah, right. Was the Inquisition part of the Crusades, or that was something else?
That was separate, I believe. I always associate the Inquisition with Spain.
It was Crusade-ish. It wasn't the Crusades.
Yeah,
the Crusades was more kind of the Middle East of today.
Yes.
This isn't a history podcast, so we're not going to be held to any of this. I'm showing my pure ignorance.
I don't know. I think you know a lot.
I don't know. You're being really nice. But this guy who was nominated to get to the news, Peter Hegseth, he's a weekend anchor on Fox. He got nominated to lead the entire military of the largest military on Earth. Currently.
Wow. Yeah. That's the U.S. we're talking about, right?
Right. Yeah. So he'd be the head honcho over the Army, Navy, right? Marines, National Guard, if he got confirmed.
Secretary of Defense.
But he's like really into the Crusades.
Yeah.
He had tattoos on his pecs, and he had that Jerusalem cross.
Right.
Some people mislabeled it as like a swastika, but it's not a swastika.
Right, but you know what? It does look a little bit like the Iron Cross, which is a German thing.
From World War I,
from
maybe?
World War I, yes. My grandfather, who was Jewish, great-grandfather rather, did have an Iron Cross, so it, before.
Interesting.
Yeah, anyway.
But then... people are like, this is a swastika, and people were like really focusing on this Jerusalem cross. But then he had a different thing on his arm, a short Latin saying that's a Deus Vult. And that meant it's God's will. And that, apparently, that's the thing that we should all be concerned about, even more than the Jerusalem cross, because the Deus Vult is a favorite quote of a lot of Nazis and a lot of like white nationalist supremacists and those types.
Right. So he ultimately, I guess, wants a white Christian nationalist state. Is that sort of?
At least in the army, possibly. If not
right. Because one of his big things is getting rid of what is it called?
DEI, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Because he thinks that's a big talking point of the MAGA, that the military is woke, right?
Yeah, which just is, I don't, it just seems so silly to me. And it's like, because we have so few soldiers right now, the enrollment has been declining since the 80s, just going down. So, part of the problem is we need soldiers. So you're going to start...
Well, there's no draft, and nobody wants the draft. So you do want, why would you be against having a diverse military?
Right.
I mean, unless you're a Nazi.
Equity and inclusion, at least, right?
Right, you would think. But then, it's funny because I've worked on a couple of podcasts about some famous people. One was Richard Pryor, and Sammy Davis Jr. also, and I believe both of them were in the military. And I remember, I may be wrong about Sammy Davis Jr., but I think both of them were, and they were essentially in battalions in basic training with all these southern white people who just beat the shit out of them. Who, and Richard Pryor ended up stabbing somebody.
What?
Yeah, during his, because he was essentially, I think that was that would happen. If you were black and you joined the military or were drafted, you'd just be in with all these potential Klan members, and you'd be beat up.
I guess it must have been after World War II, yeah, because I think there was still,
I guess, yeah,
separate.
That's right. Good
so
point.
Recent, so
good
crazy.
Point. But that is, one thing that has been a positive step for the military is they have been talking about kicking out people who are potential extremists.
Right, but it seems like they're going to stop doing that now, because I think this guy, specifically Hegseth, was identified as a possible extremist,
exactly.
And he had been going to be there for Biden's inauguration.
He was
just
going
security,
to be,
basically,
right.
But
he was National Guard,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
they saw these tattoos. Somebody saw he posted it on social media. Deus Vult.
Deus Vult, yeah.
God's will that I'm going to slay you at the tip of my sword.
Right, I'm curious
God
what his larger, what he wants to happen in the world. What, is it, yeah. But anyway, he
wants things to be, I think I made this joke during the podcast that we did, that where we lost the audio, but that Harris had that thing, we're not going back. Right. And the fear is we're going to go back to the 1850s or or Jim Crow 1950s. But Deus Vult and the Crusades was the year 1060.
Wow.
So we are going back, and we're going back much further than we all thought.
Yeah.
He probably just wants to attack all the Muslim countries and wipe the armed forces of anyone but white people.
I guess, yeah. I don't think Trump will allow him to attack the Muslim countries because he has too much money invested in them.
Right, Saudi Arabia. Jared will, his source Qatar will get cut off.
Right. It's billions of dollars, and who knows what else they've offered him separately. So I don't know that will happen. But who knows? Maybe Iran. Maybe that would be so crazy. That would be a huge mess. We'll see what happens.
Hegseth. Yeah. And like a bunch of the other nominees, he's also implicated in an alleged rape, I guess, at some Republican conference.
Oh, yeah.
Hegseth, I think right?
He also, I saw that he wrote in his college newspaper something saying that if someone is passed out, a woman is passed out from drinking, it's not rape to have sex with them. And it's what? You know what? That almost seems too much to be believed. And I didn't see the actual text of it, but it's just how is... but you know what? Maybe it's just straight up that. Because you'd think, how is that not, issue number one that we're reading about? What?
Right. Well, that's... Yeah, I could see that. With the picks, the other picks, like Matt Gaetz, it does seem like maybe that helps Hegseth that he wrote that.
Yeah, maybe. Oh man, yeah. Gaetz is such
so
a
gross.
creep. And I just saw that there has been leaks of the stuff behind the scenes, like
right.
I don't know all the details of what's been
investigation,
leaked yet.
the House investigation,
into him sex trafficking and paying two 17-year-old young women
and
for sex. Yeah,
crushing ED medication.
Oh, is that what he was doing?
I think so, like with energy drinks.
Wow, he was just crushing it, huh?
I guess so. What a man. What a real man.
I don't know.
And Trump apparently, and who knows what's going to happen by the time, that we post this. Maybe I don't think anybody's dropping out because the hearings won't be until Trump is president in January. Yeah. But Trump is calling all the senators.
Yeah.
Do you see any of them saying no to him?
I don't know, man. People hate
Gaetz, right?
Gaetz. They hate his guts. So I think maybe, but I also think Kevin McCarthy has been waging war against him from behind the scenes since he unseated McCarthy with his moves. So McCarthy is probably working behind the scenes right now. McCarthy probably got this document leaked. I don't know if he's able to work the room and take him down because people already hate him. So he might be the one who doesn't get confirmed.
Right. And the two people that will serve under the AG, as of now, if they get confirmed, I think they are they have to be confirmed. One of them is this Todd Blanche. Oh. Remember I went to the trial in New York? Yeah. The Trump trial. And this was the whole, who was the stripper, the porn star?
Right. Wow. So quickly we forget.
Jesus. Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
And the lawyer for Trump was this guy, Todd Blanche, who kind of stands next to Trump during those press hearings and looks in a dour way into the camera. And but he's like a legit lawyer. He's like he's like not even like a MAGA guy, but I guess he is now maybe, but who knows.
Yeah.
But he would actually potentially be a fit.
Someone who actually knows the law to an
He
extent.
actually knows the law. And I remember during the first term, there was a thing where there were a bunch of people heading up agencies that were the acting head of the agency.
Oh.
And I think that Trump kind of liked that. So if Gaetz goes down and this guy Todd Blanche becomes the AG, the acting AG, maybe they have certain power that the actual AG doesn't have. Does that make sense?
Or is it just a matter of you don't have to get them confirmed if they're acting?
Oh, maybe that's it.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. They might get to do certain things.
Yeah. I mean, Trump just wants a loyalist that will break the law for him and say,
that's
okay. Right?
That's right.
What's interesting about that, though, is I'm sure he'll find people to do it, probably, but they're not saved from the law, the way that the Supreme Court has insulated the president. So, you might be screwed later on if there are trials and you broke the law.
Trump could pardon them, but that might be a long time from now.
Right. I mean, they wouldn't even be charged, right, under Trump.
Right. Exactly. So I thought it would be fun. I was just thinking, because I was so terrible at predicting who would win the election that I didn't want to humiliate myself again by guessing which one of these people would be, voted to head the cabinet positions. But maybe I'll name the 4 big controversial people that Trump has nominated. And then we get to choose who the most dangerous to least dangerous choices are.
Wow.
Do you like that? Is that?
Yeah, no, let's try it.
Let's try it. Okay. So the 4 people are Pete Hegseth. Again, he's the, Trump wants him to head the Department of Defense. There's Tulsi Gabbard, who would head the intelligence agency. That would be overseeing CIA. And she's went to visit Assad in Syria, and she like hung out with. I think she's a big Putin, fan, former Democrat. Matt Gaetz, that wants, the AG, just like a big jackass. And then there's RFK Jr., who is nominated to head the Health and Human Services. So you want me to repeat that, or
no, I got it.
Okay, so who would you say is the least? I mean, they're all going to be dangerous, but who would be the least dangerous of that bunch?
You know what? Maybe Matt Gaetz, almost.
You think?
Well, it's just, I don't know. It seems like anybody else, like, he's just a suit to a certain extent.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like, if it's not him okaying whatever Trump does.
Do you think his incompetence and his lack of being qualified would actually help protect us? That I think he wouldn't be able to inflict as much damage as some of the others?
Maybe. Yeah. What's your take? Who do you think is least?
It's a really great question, because one thing, and of course I don't understand how some of these agencies work, like would RFK Jr. actually be able to cancel vaccines? Like, can he do that single-handedly, or is that something...
Well, I think what he's saying he's going to do is just do more research into it, and I think basically he can change recommendations for it.
Right.
And that might give states more leeway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I might choose him begrudgingly. Just because I do think Matt Gaetz could help essentially clear out that entire Department of Justice of qualified people. Right. The destruction of the administrative state.
Right.
And they'll just start, like, putting, like, Hillary Clinton and Pelosi on trial. And it would, I just see that as kind of helping degrade democracy.
I guess
more than the whole vaccine thing. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Guess my thought on that is that anybody could do that same thing, and probably will and would, because that's Trump's bidding. But I don't know that there are that many uniquely kooks up for the job compared to RFK. I actually think he might be one of either the first dangerous. Or the second most dangerous.
Because of the vaccine stuff, or other
partly
stuff?
Vaccines, which is I don't know exactly how much he could accomplish, because maybe it is just research and recommendations, and how much is that going to affect things. But I just read somebody saying that he could end up causing millions of deaths. I mean, then there's also, but
say
I don't
we
know
have
the
a
details
pandemic, another pandemic,
right? We have another pandemic. Who knows? Right? Or also with even just fluoride. People are buying like the stock is up for
that could actually kill you. I think. Yeah. Apparently England doesn't have fluorine in the water, and their teeth are like notoriously bad. At least they used to be.
Yeah. Huh.
But apparently it can, like, kill a lot of people if they take fluoride out of the water. I don't know how.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, some doctor on the news said that. Okay, so you think RFK might be one or two most dangerous, and you think Matt Gaetz, just partly because of his incompetence, might be actually one of the least dangerous of the four very dangerous people.
Yeah.
So what about Tulsi? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think she might be number one.
Number one, really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I just think...
She's scary.
She's also... See, incompetence in a position like that, I think, is maybe more concerning. And I think I'm more concerned about them cleaning house in all of our intelligence agencies than I would be in... even in the DOJ, which is, a nightmare. But I think there's a lot of evil actors in the world today, and I'm sure they're all going to be looking to take advantage of the U.S., especially right now.
Right, and you want someone who's going to keep that stuff secret.
Yeah,
I mean, let alone we know Trump has a problem with classified documents. But
unless she's such a zero, such a nothing that other people are actually in charge, which is possible.
Maybe, but because
she hasn't done anything.
Yeah, if she's into like Putin, I would worry that like if we have spies undercover, that she'd blow their cover.
It's very confusing why she's hanging with those two of those guys.
And she's associated with a cult. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yes, she. There's some weird cult that she was, somehow got involved with. I don't know if she still is.
I mean, geez, these are people who would never be approved for anything, and everybody's saying that both Hegseth and Gaetz are just like so open to the honey trap thing. Of getting caught and getting blackmailed, basically by a foreign
basically
government.
having an affair or some crazy thing where.
I guess to me though is like, well, these people have no shame.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Well, at the same time though, I guess if they, I don't know.
Well, if he broke the law,
some gay thing.
Right, or if he broke the law, if there's something he does where he like steals some money, and he gets kind of caught by Putin or something, and he's the AG. But Hegseth, I mean, the one argument for Hegseth being one of the most dangerous is just that the big job, apart from every other job, like even the economy and all that, is really to protect the country from foreign, from like the other countries attacking us or internal terrorist groups. Like that is where the presidency, is the commander in chief.
Right.
So, I mean, so to have some guy with no, he's just not qualified.
Right.
And he's scary.
I would be more concerned with him using the military against Americans than
that is scary.
Yeah.
But also, like, do you think he knows like specific regions? Like, if somebody's like, the Kurds are under attack by Turkey right now, like, will he? I mean, he has been in the military, so he might know some of that stuff.
Right.
But he has no like sense memory of being like an assistant to like someone in the State Department or somebody else. He's never worked for the Defense Department, right? Never worked in the Pentagon, I don't think.
I don't think so. I mean, it's interesting just in terms of any leadership position, how much do people need to know about the particular industry? Like I was just listening to a podcast where they're talking about replacing Bob Iger and who they're going to bring in.
Right.
And, sometimes they'll bring in like someone from, like P&G or whatever, if that's even around anymore, to, run an entertainment company. And I don't know if that always is necessarily a good idea or not. But, anyway, ultimately the thought is that it's more about the leadership than it is about institutional knowledge. So, but you know what? He might not have leadership skills either, because what has he done that's been leadership? He's been a talking head, basically, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting point. Well, I remember, a lot of the people, and this isn't a great comparison, but a lot of the people who like run late night TV shows have been like more news producers than comedy people.
That seemed like a relatively new thing at a certain point.
So?
Is that right?
Like Morton, Robert Morton, who was the Letterman head honcho.
Oh, okay.
He came from a news background.
Oh, okay. I guess
that was that guy Chris Licht.
Right, Henchy? Oh, Licht, yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yes. Yeah, he was the CNN guy who went and ran
He ran Colbert, I think, for a bit. Right.
Huh.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, leadership does count. And, I suppose you will have people holding your hand who know shit.
Yeah.
But so many of these people don't want those bureaucrat people to hold their hand. They kind of want to fire them.
That's a good point. All sorts of bad things can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Just the incompetence beyond them being able to achieve their goals. It's like, which is worse? them achieving these dubious things, or them screwing up the basics of the job. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't assume just because they can't do the job that it doesn't mean they're not going to like seriously get our country into a horrible mess.
Oy.
Remember when Reagan? There was a thing with Reagan where he didn't know he was on the air, and he said he was like joking around about sending nukes to Russia or something.
Oh, yeah,
it was like a hot mic thing, and like we almost had a nuclear war because of it.
Oh my gosh.
So it just goes to show, like, I mean, we're so lucky we got through the first 4 years of Trump without something like, although we did have the pandemic.
I mean, well, and now he has so many more people, I think, who have latched onto him and see him as like, oh, we can, do a lot of stuff with this guy. We can get him to do what we want, and he's like bought into it.
Totally.
But I've also seen people saying, like, how much is he really going to be able to accomplish?
Right, and he's getting more and more, like, a little bit addled, I think, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, that too.
As he ages.
Well, yeah, and even something like, with his big thing is immigration and rounding up, millions of people or something.
Yeah.
The guy who's the head of the House the other day said something like, he was going through the numbers,
Mike Johnson.
Yeah, Mike Johnson. Like, oh, well, first we would just go after, criminals and people of that nature. And he was like, so that's like 7 million people right there. I'm like, what?
God. Yeah.
What, 7 million?
There's no way they're going to be able to do more than like...
No, but who are these 7 million immigrants here who are criminals?
Oh no,
yeah. How are they going to do so many? Well, then this other guy who I think maybe is going to be leading the charge on that. He said something to the effect. Did you hear about this? He said something to the effect just today of people who try to hide illegal immigrants.
Yeah,
that he would like put them in jail.
Oh, really?
And everybody's making Anne Frank comparisons because it is horrifying.
Jesus. Yeah, absolutely. It's terrifying. Yeah. And what do you buy into this idea that during the first Trump term, there were at least adults in the room? I mean, do you see someone like William Barr as an adult? I mean, I suppose.
Well, at least the generals, right?
He's over 18, so he's an adult.
Yes, in that sense.
The generals,
I think Barr did
the generals
kind of hold him back in some ways, and the generals certainly did.
You're right, and I think actually Jared Kushner and Ivanka. I always want to say Ivanka. I think they actually were a moderating force. Believe it or not.
Yeah, but they're not around this time, right?
Well, exactly. That's That's why maybe that is an apt. Observation that there won't be anybody holding him back this time. I mean, the woman who's his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, she seems sort of like at least like a professional.
Yeah. Huh. Who is she? Do you know who she is?
She's. Do you remember Pat Summerall, the football guy?
No.
He was an announcer for the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Like a very beloved one, I believe. She's his daughter. She's one of his daughters or kids. So, and she's done various political things. I think she's actually super smart, but I feel, I don't know, should I feel bad for her? That must be the worst job ever.
Yeah, I wonder. Who knows? I don't know.
I know.
Ugh, the whole thing, it's just so, who knows what's going to happen. It could be awful, and it could just be a shit show. It's going to be
bad. I think it's going to be... Right. I
mean,
they could just fail so bad. Like, there could be... The 25th Amendment could be invoked within, like, 3 months of him taking office by the Republicans if he fucks up so bad.
Huh. I wonder, though. I mean, that's like... I guess there were a lot of attempts on Hitler's life. It's not like that didn't happen.
Right.
So...
Like,
but it didn't succeed. So, what'd you say?
Yeah, he did it himself, right?
Yeah.
He killed himself.
Yes, as far as we know.
Right.
But anyway, the point being that I think it might be hard for them to take him down from the inside because, it's the cult of personality. I feel like ever equating anybody to Hitler is a little bit dubious, but, you can at least make some comparison to an extent. And just in terms of the cult of personality, I think it's similar. similar, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's crazy.
At least for the people close to him. At least for I don't think like a lot of people who voted for him, I don't think are in the cult.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's Georgie.
George
will be fine no matter what.
Yes.
Maybe not the rest of us.
Yeah. George. Did you name him after George of the Jungle? Is that?
No. We didn't name him. He came named George. He was a rescue dog.
Nice.
And we didn't change the name.
It's a great name.
It's pretty solid, right?
I think so, yeah. It's dignified.
Didn't you say George Magazine is coming back?
Oh, yeah, I think
Did we talk about that?
Yeah. I mentioned it. That's all I know. So.
Yeah. Well, that's something to look forward to. Or not.
Excited. Yeah. Fair enough.
Well, I think we got through it without you hitting your mic.
We're not finished yet.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Say something now. I hear you.
So we've done it.
We did it. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. We'll see what happens with these picks. And we'll see if Trump, gets everyone to vote for his crazy crusade-loving pals.
Let's see. So you're naming Hegseth as number one.
I think it's got to be. I think Gaetz or Hegseth. I think they're one and two. Probably Gaetz number one, then Hegseth, then Tulsi and RFK. And I'm not saying I like RFK Jr.
Oh, no. I get you.
I mean, RFK Jr. is talking about, like, non-processed foods.
Yeah.
I mean, to some degree, that is a true thing. Like, every now and again, a stop clock can be right. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are, even, we'll just see what happens. It's going to be a shit show for sure.
Yeah, I'd say that.
All right. Have a good one. We'll talk soon.
See ya.